So, Michael, let's talk a little bit about the fuel situation in Australia. I know you have family in Western Australia, and both your parents have businesses that are very dependent on fuel, and fuel prices are skyrocketing. So, how's it impacting their businesses?
So one company is a civil earthworks company. So we have machines that run on fuel to build the sub bases of roads and stuff like that. We do everything up to the asphalt. So all the contracts and stuff that we've tendered for have got their prices already built into them already, and they are what they are. And it's the new contracts that we tender for have got to be priced a little bit higher. My dad's business is an agricultural business where he flies and spreads fertiliser and such on crops from airplanes, ordering 25,000 litres at a time. And yeah, the prices went up a little bit, and yeah, that seems to hurt. But also in that industry and business, fertilizer prices are skyrocketing as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
that affects so much more than just us. It affects all of our customers very heavily.
And if we make it even more personal, you live in regional New South Wales. I would imagine you're seeing fuel prices go pretty high there.
They're pretty high. You might not know, I actually drove 5,000 kilometers nearly in the last 6 weeks
Right.
over the weekends, doing numerous activities and fun things. But yeah, the petrol prices are hurt.
Yeah. So,
Um,
from a family point of view, you see the cost from a business perspective. If we talk about it from a retailer perspective, and retailers we know of,
mm,
so many suppliers are adding fuel surcharges to what they're delivering to retailers, and that's ranging anything I've seen 5% through to, in one case, 22%.
mm, whoa.
Like expensive
Mm.
surcharges. And are you seeing the price of everyday items in regional New South Wales where you live? Are you seeing the prices of items go up?
Only a little bit. Nothing that surprises me with the current climate.
Mhm.
I expect it to inflate a little bit. I've definitely seen it from a customer perspective where they've seen those fuel charges on their statements and stuff like that and go, yep, this makes sense. I've seen one customer start building it into their pricing straight
Yeah.
away. Um,
So you
uh,
talk with a lot of retailers almost every day.
yeah,
The fuel situation is stressful for them, I would
mm.
imagine.
it's
Um,
it's it's stressful as long as they're comfortable building it into their prices. Customers understand.
yeah.
They're not doubling their prices as per se. It's just putting a little bit back onto it and it's just covering it as they need to.
And so that's our advice, really, isn't it? To look at your markup and add a modest amount to help cover the additional cost that you've got in business without
Mm.
going crazy. And
Yes.
our advice would be you're better off doing it early rather than, later down the track.
Yeah, put it in. Start putting it in now, at least a little bit, so that way it's not a massive shock if you need to go up further. Just creep it up as you need to.
Yeah. So thinking about that and kind of your experience, and because you came from a business where you were using our software in the business, thinking about all of those things, how much does it come up in your discussions with our point of sale customers, the kind of retail background you have and your family experiences in business today?
Um, I suppose at least once a day, depending on the customer. So if you're
Mhm.
speaking to like a bookshop customer, it's not so much of a thing. The freight charge is generally fixed for those guys, which is nice, but should be going up at some point as long as they're building it into their pricing if they can. If it's a landscaping company, it's a very heavy conversation. We're thinking about, right, we're putting our fuel prices in now, but how do we go and increase that later? Easy, we've got a few tools for that. So it depends on the customer and the industry that they're in more specifically.
See, produce and farm supply, that's going to be a big factor.
Very big
Garden centres, definitely. Toy shops, they're seeing fuel impact, but
surcharges. Yeah.
it's not as much.
Mm.
And the same possibly with gift. They're still seeing it, but they're not seeing it to the extent of, say, a produce or farm supply business.
In those industries I've been looking for but haven't seen it yet, but there's been no increase in postage costs
Right.
yet.
Well,
And that's what
Australia
I
Post themselves for their freight have announced their increase. They haven't come into effect yet, but they're about to come into effect, and so
that's what
that
I'm
will
looking for.
that will certainly that will certainly play out for them. Um, I don't want to kind of get all weird about it, but In the retailers you're talking with, are you seeing sort of an emotional cost to all of this?
No, everyone's the people that I've been dealing with very lately are very much focused on just running their business. They
Yeah.
know it's a cost and they know they've got to put it in.
Yeah.
Um, they've
But,
they've, uh, they've calculated it. They know what they want their final result to be.
right. It's
And
kind of the small business thing of, you know, we're all in this together. We've just got to deal with it.
exactly. I mean, people still need this product. If you're building a house or you're preparing a garden or something like that, and it's a contract, work's got to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Customers want to buy the sand and the soil. They'll pay the price if that's
Yeah.
what they want.
And look, we've got other videos where we show people how to do uh, bulk price changes using Stock Manager, which really is the go-to tool for this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a very nice, easy tool to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So final question for you. You said you've done 5,000 K over the last few weeks.
Mm.
Is that going to slow down if fuel prices go up?
I'm done. It was March Madness. I think I went to Sydney 3 times. I went to Victoria for a week to do a driving rally, and then I went to Mildura for a weekend. So Friday, drove there Friday, drove back on Sunday.
Right.
Just for Speedway with my family.
So now you're settled and kind of
I've,
locked
I've
in.
done parked up the big car and I'm gonna leave it there for a while and put some more money back in the savings account.
All right. I guess the final comment that I'd make is, you hear you and I talking, and we're not AI. It's real. You got 5 fingers or 4 fingers and a thumb. Um, it's a big difference, because so many businesses are delivering customer service 100% through AI tools. We're dealing with small business retailers, and they can talk to you as a human.
Yeah, you need human context and human understanding. AI is good, but it doesn't understand every nuance of every business yet, and
Yeah.
that's a fair way down the track. So I'm
Okay.
here. I'll help.
And look, retail's personal after all.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.